So I believe it was Will Smith that said, on the other side of discomfort and fear are the greatest things in life. And in today's episode of the Trading Coach Podcast, we're going to talk about how you can unlock those greatest things by having a growth mindset. Now, before we kick things off, I want to just give a big thank you for all you guys for supporting the show for so long. Keep it up and do me a favor. Continue to subscribe and follow if you haven't already. Leave me a rating or a review if you haven't done so already. And of course, continue to share this on your social networks. And speaking of social networks, that's where the topic for today's podcast comes from. And like many of the podcast episodes here, this is actually a reoccurring theme that I've heard probably about 5 or 6 times in the last week or so. And whenever that happens, it's kind of a big red flag that says, hey, we need to address this in a live session, whether it's a live session with my traders I work with directly, whether it's a live session on the Trader Coffee Break with Jason Greystone, or whether it's here on the Trading Coach Podcast. And recently, we've been doing a lot of strategy development, right? I've been helping traders out with developing strategies, going through the process, and a common theme in that process is the ability to be creative, right? Our best work comes when we allow ourselves to become creative, right? We start thinking outside the box. And when you approach something with kind of a direct, closed-minded ways of thinking, it's very, very hard to get the solutions that will ultimately unlock what you want to get out of your trading strategy. Right? I think it's important to understand this, right? Trading is very difficult. There are hundreds and hundreds of moving pieces out there that you can use. And traditionally, well, the traditional way of using them isn't going to get you the result that you desire, right? If it did, right, there wouldn't be such a high failure rate. The key is being creative with what you do, how you do it, seeing the markets a little bit differently than everyone else. And that's how you can find and create and really maintain that edge over time. And the same thing goes for life, right? Because trading and life go hand in hand. In life, our job in life is to create an edge, right? The edge is a little bit different, right? In trading, it's probabilities and ultimately it's profitability. Life, it's different things, right? It could be profitability. It could also be family. It could be time management, right? Whatever you want to get out of your life. But the goal is to put ourselves in a position where we have the best chance to succeed. And I 100% believe that you cannot do that if you have a locked mindset, if you have a fixed mindset. And I'm sure you've heard these terms before, but just to kind of recap it, there's 2 types of mindsets that are typically talked about, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset, well, it is what it is, right? You are fixed in your ways. You have a set way of thinking, a set way of believing. Your thoughts will not change for anything. It's your way or the highway, and you're not accepting any information into your brain. It is what it is. A growth mindset gives you the ability to learn. You may have a fixed opinion on something, but at least you're open to the idea of, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, or even if I know I'm right, I'm at least open to hearing your side of the story, and maybe it adjusts my thinking a little bit. And you can talk to anyone out there. The growth mindset is the way to be if you want to be successful, because as human beings, we have to be able to grow. And you think about yourself as like a flower, right? If you are trying to grow a flower or a plant in a condensed space, that plant is never going to outgrow the space that it's at. If you open up that box or open up the garden, whatever it is that you're planting to plant in, it can grow big. It can really reach its potential. And as human beings, we're the same way. And the question that I got on social media was from a good buddy of mine, Dion, who I've known for a very long time. And if you ever get a chance to follow his stuff on Instagram, on TikTok, they're doing some really good things with kind of educating traders in the sense of, hey, here's what I've learned during my trading journey. Here's what you really need to learn specifically on the psychological side to be great. And he has a question. He says, why is it important for someone to be open-minded? I'm not looking for a simple answer like, if you don't, you'll never grow, etc. But how would you explain it to a closed-minded person? So I took that as kind of, maybe he's dealing with someone who has a closed mindset and he's trying to explain to him, hey, why they may want to change their ways. And it so happens that a few minutes before I read that kind of that message, I had the same conversation with my son, or at least the same thoughts that went through my mind with my son, right? So I'm the chef of the house. I love to cook. It is a passion of mine. It's a way for me to be creative. It's a way for me to kind of get meditation. And, I like food. I like food and I like the way I make it. So that's a plus too. And I recently made some chicken, right? A nice little recipe. I always try to find things that the kids will like because, like many kids, mine are pretty picky. And I was very proud about this specific meal that I made. And I made it. It cooked up. It's smelling good. My oldest comes over. What's that? Smells good. Hey, you want to try a piece? He picks out a piece, and we have the whole thing where he he thumbs up, thumbs down. Like, what are you going to give me? And he kind of like holds me in suspense. He hangs it sideways, and he's like, I like it. And I'm like, yeah, win for today. I'm so pumped, right? That's kind of like the meaning of my life right now. My youngest, my 4-year-old, fresh 4-year-old, is the opposite. He won't try anything. He's stuck in his way. It's like hot dog, mac and cheese, that's it. And so we're still trying to convince him to eat stuff. And the analogy that I gave to Dion about his question is, imagine your growth mindset or your closed mindset, your open mindset being like food, right? Trying to get someone to taste food, right? So at a young age, right, we don't really have a lot of experiences. We're in that unconscious, incompetent stage where we don't know what we don't know. We've only experienced what we've experienced up to this point. And there's so much out there in life that we haven't experienced. And sticking with the food example, right, there's so many different foods, right? Maybe my kid has experienced mac and cheese and chicken nuggets and hot dogs. Maybe he's never had chicken before, right? And right now, his closed mindset tells him that, hey, I don't like chicken. But the truth is, how do you know that you don't like chicken if you've never tried chicken? It's funny, I'm not going to get off on too much of a rant, but I used to deal with this a lot of the time on the internet with trolls, right? I don't mess with trolls anymore, but I used to trade, I used to do trading videos like I'm doing now, and trolls would comment and be like, hey, that way of trading can never be profitable. And I'd be like, well, have you actually back tested my strategy and proven that it's not profitable? Be like, well, no, but I can just tell. So, well, how can you tell if you've never actually did the work? Now, if I gave you my rules and you back tested it specifically, the rules to a T on the exact time frames, on the exact portfolio, and you showed me the numbers that said it's not successful, then we can talk. But if you haven't done that and proved it, why am I giving your words any value? And eating is the same way, right? How do you know you don't like chicken if you've never tried this chicken, right? You don't. It's your closed mindset saying that, well, I can't like it. I won't like it. And you don't have the ability, you're not allowing yourself the ability to grow. You're putting yourself into this box. And the thing is, right, think about the risk reward, because this is the Trading Coach podcast, so everything goes back to risk reward. Think about the risk reward of this moment. And I measure everything in life with this, right? What is the risk of you trying this piece of chicken? Well, it tastes nasty. You spit it out. You don't like it. You never eat it again, right? Maybe even worse. Maybe you throw up, right? Big deal, right? Throwing up's not fun, right? But maybe that happens, right? That's like trading without a stop loss. Rarity could happen, but it could, right? That is the risk, right? There's not a lot of risk in there. It is a short-term pain. It is a short-term, ew, I don't like it. Drink some milk or something like that, and boom, you're all better, right? 5 seconds later, here's a hot dog, go eat it, have fun. You forgot about it, right? But look at the reward. The reward is that you actually give me the thumbs up. You like this chicken. You're like, tasty. And you've added a whole new arsenal. What if this becomes your favorite meal? You've unlocked your favorite thing to eat, and that may remain your favorite thing for the rest of your life, for a month, for a week, for years, who knows? But there's so much more benefit in the reward of, I tried it, I liked it. And now I've added that to my arsenal. And it's the same thing with any other aspect of life, right? What is the risk and reward? If you are open-minded and someone is telling you something and you give it a try, what is the worst that can happen? Again, we're not talking about drastic examples like your friend saying, hey, let's jump off this cliff and see what happens, right? That's a different story, right? Do not jump off a cliff. You got to be smarter than that. That's when the risk outweighs the reward, I'm sure, for that, right? But in normal examples of life, what is the risk of like, hey, I got this idea, listen to it. The risk of of considering something and trying something, especially if it's something that will benefit you, is very minimum. Because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, what did you waste? Well, maybe a little bit of brain energy, maybe a little bit of time doing research on something to see if it fits what you want to fit. Maybe it's a small investment. Maybe, you paid some money to try on a new pair of clothes or lipstick or whatever. Maybe you lost some money, right? But bigger picture, it's not a big deal. But if it's something that can potentially change your life forever, no matter how many years you have going forward, and not even to talk about changing kind of the generational experience of you teaching it to the next generation, the next generation, the next generation, right? If it is something that can have a massive input and impact on your life and really change the trajectory of where you're going, we talk about that 1% change in direction over time takes you to a completely different place. Isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it to just consider? So if you're dealing with someone that has a closed mindset, someone that has a fixed mindset, they refuse to be open, they refuse to kind of leave their comfort zone, they refuse to experience new things, have them listen to this podcast, or better yet, just explain it to them yourself. Put it into terms of risk reward. And the risk is that you have a short-term kind of discomfort. The reward is that you have a long-term positive effect. And honestly, I would flip things around. The real risk of not being open-minded, the real risk of having a fixed mindset and refusing to change, what's the real risk? The real risk is that you're going to stay exactly where you are right now for the rest of your life. Hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hope it wasn't too much of a downer, but I'm really passionate about stuff like that. I took a massive risk in my life when I decided to learn how to trade and ultimately get on the path of becoming a consistently profitable trader. And my life has changed because of that. By the way, if you are interested in learning and want some coaching and mentorship by yours truly, check out our website, www.tier1trading.com. We got a lot of cool stuff over there that is just for you and just what you need to get started on the path of changing your trading trajectory.